What's up, everybody? It's your mortgage expert, Brian McCauley here. So you're looking to buy a house or sell a house in Dallas, Texas, and you're confused about which one comes first. We've got a lot of sellers that have reached out to us and they want to buy a house, but they're afraid that they have to sell their current house first. In today's market, that's not actually true. We have a new home loan program that will allow you to buy your new one or you sell your old one, and we won't even count the debt against you, which will help you qualify. Stick around in this video. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. The DFW housing market continues to be healthy. It's still thawing itself out. We're seeing situations where multiple offers are already back on certain houses. Certain houses are, on the market for probably 2 or 3 weeks and then getting offers. And there are still some properties that are sitting around for 30 or 60 days. I think by the end of this year, we'll see a little bit more balance. I really think we're going to see a boom next year. But I think this is probably the way it's going to be for the rest of 25. But there's a lot of opportunity in that for potential buyers out there, because obviously when it's a buyer's market and houses just aren't flying off the shelf, it gives you the opportunity to work on a structure and a negotiation tactic on your offer to probably help you get more than you could from when the market turns and it's in the seller's favor. So what I want to talk about today is actually one of the biggest programs that we've been helping people out with, probably 50 to 60% of our buyer profiles each and every month. It is actually a buy before you sell program. So what this means is if someone is a seller, right, they've got a house that they're trying to sell, they're getting ready to sell, it's listed for sale. A lot of times these people think, hey, I have to sell the current house that I own before I can buy my new house. Not true in so many ways. Now, sometimes they have to, whether they can't qualify from a debt to income perspective and their debt and their income just can't hold both houses at one time. Sometimes they need it because they have equity in the house and they say, hey, well, I can qualify from a debt to income standpoint, Brian, but I've got to put 10% down or 15% down or 20% down, and all of that equity is in my current house, so I have to sell it to free up all that cash, and I'm going to use that cash for the new one. So selling your house before you buy a new one, getting all of those proceeds, waiting, and then obviously putting it as a down payment on the new property is the old way of thinking. The new way of thinking, especially in a market that's super fast-paced, still thin on inventory, sellers really don't like to take contingencies on their offers from the buyers, and so the buy before you sell program we have allows the current homeowner that's wanting to sell the house to be able to buy the new house without selling the old house. Now, a couple big things that I want to talk about in this program, but it is helping so many people because, again, there is a way to do it. It's just a lot of mortgage companies don't have the program, don't have the knowledge, don't have the structure, don't have the infrastructure. We have it all, and so it allows people to get to from A to B quicker, which is house they currently want to sell, house they currently want to buy. We can help them buy the new house that I'm selling the old one. So the way that this works is a couple things have to happen. Number one, you have to have at least 20% equity in the current home that you're selling. So if your current house does not have 20% equity in it, the one that you are selling before you buy the new one, you won't qualify. In order to find out how much equity is there, we as the lender can order an appraisal on the property. We can use an AVM, we can get a BPO. These are just third parties that we would use to make sure that if you were trying to qualify for this property, that your property in fact would have 20% in it. So that would be the first qualifier, is 20% equity in the existing home that you were trying to sell. Qualification number two, you must put at least 10% down on the new property. Doesn't sound like much, but if you only had 5%, you wouldn't qualify. So qualifying step one is the existing house that you're trying to sell must have at least 20% equity in it. We will do an appraisal, a BPO, and AVM to make sure that 20% equity is there, so you can check that box to make sure you qualify for step one. Qualification number two is you must put 10% down minimum on the new house that you're buying in the near future. If you don't have 10% down, stick around for the end of the video. I'm going to show you a secret where you can tap into the current equity and still be okay from a qualification standpoint, but you got to put 10% down on the new property. So what happens is if you have 20% equity in the existing one and you're going to put 10% down on the new one, our special in-house buy before you sell program allows us as originators to not count the current primary home, the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, all the debt that's against it, against your overall debt to income qualifying ratios, where most banks say, hey, look, this house that you're selling has a $4,000 mortgage on it. The house that you want to buy in the future got a $5,000 mortgage on it. That's $9,000 if you're gonna have two homes at one time, even though you're probably not gonna keep them both for a long period of time. We as the mortgage company wanna hold the old mortgage and the new mortgage against you from a qualification standpoint. Not anymore. We will get rid of this mortgage completely if you use our internal program. So if you've got $9,000 as a mortgage payment from the old house you're trying to sell, plus the new house that you're trying to buy, getting rid of one of those mortgages could easily qualify somebody for a $4,000 mortgage. So it's very important that people understand their options, because most of the time they don't know that you can not count the existing mortgage as long as there's 20% equity in the property and you are buying a new place simultaneously with at least 10% down. So those are qualifications number 1 and 2. Now here's where the cool part happens as a third bonus and a third added that you don't have to use, but you can. So if you have 20% equity in your current house, let's say 20% or more, and you're putting 10% down on the new property, if you have the funds for the down payment for the 10% for the new one, by all means, you don't have to utilize this option, but a lot of people do. You can actually do a third loan, which is called a bridge loan. A bridge loan would effectively advance the equity from the current house that you're trying to sell and use as much of it as you want towards the down payment on the new one. Now, you still have to keep 20% equity in that current property regardless. So if you had 30% equity, right, you can borrow 10% of it and you could use that 10% for the down payment on the new one, or you could take that 10% and combine it with the original 10% on the new one, making 20%. So the 3-touch package on this, right, it's really 2, but a third is an added bonus. Selling a current house, buying a new house. You think you need to sell before you buy because of debt to income and or I don't have the assets because the equity is sitting in my current property. You don't. As long as this one has 20% equity, the one you're going to sell, you get a new one under contract and you put at least 10% down, we won't count this current mortgage against you. That's solved problem 1. Problem 2 is, hey Brian, I've only got 5 or 10% down for this new house. You know, I know I've got to be at 10% minimum. I've got a lot of equity in my property. I've actually got 30%, right? I'd like to borrow and advance that 10% that I can borrow from my existing house and use it as an additional down payment over here on the new house. So my interest rate's better, my monthly payment's better, and it's a little bit easier for me to qualify. So you can combine a third loan, which is called a bridge loan, and advancing that equity from one house to the other is going to be a 4 or 5 month program on the bridge loan. There are no monthly payments on it. It is due in full in 5 months. And so obviously if you know for sure you're gonna sell your old house within 5 months of buying the new house, you probably wanna look at the bridge loan. If you don't think that you're going to sell it that fast, that's okay. There are other bridge loan options, but you might need a 6 month, you might need a 9 month, you might need a 12 month. So recapping this, any sellers out there that are gonna be buyers and you think that you have to sell your current house before you buy the new one, whether it be debt to income, whether it be assets, whether it be not able to touch the equity in the property, you need the proceeds after to get it all done. Now our new program allows for all of the above. 20% equity in the current house that you're looking to sell. It does not have to be listed. You just have to write a letter of intent, and obviously we will omit that from the overall debt to income. New house, all you have to do is put 10% down as long as it's gonna be your primary home. Those are the 2 main things that helps a lot of people qualify. If you need extra money and or want to borrow more money and you've got more equity than 20% in this first property you're trying to sell, you can advance a ton of equity from this one to the new one, helping with the down payment, helping with the rate, helping with the monthly payment, so that way you don't have to wait until you get those funds. This is an amazing buy before you sell program. I'm telling you, 40 to 50% of our people have never heard of it. They didn't know that even if they could do it, that you could omit the debt and help them qualify. And they love the idea of them being able to tap into their current equity and advance that money to the new house before they even sell. So listen, if you found this to buy before you sell video useful, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. You got any questions, drop a comment below or feel free to share with a friend. If you're out there and just want to figure out what's going on in your housing situation, you want to set up a consultation, talk about a pre-approval, just go through the basic steps, don't even know where to start. Do us a favor, call us, email us, text us. We're always here for you. Until next time, stay tuned.